Imagine your car broke down. Who are you going to call? A mechanic, an engineer, or the CEO of the car company? Of course, you say the mechanic, but you have to know that, right? Because each of these three persons that we've called have different roles. And calling the wrong person for a different role means that there are different expectations for different deliverables. And of course, this usually leads to frustration. Many small business owners use the words bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs interchangeably as if they mean the same thing. They don't. And misunderstanding the differences between these professionals is a source of a lot of frustration, and most times people also lose money. So today we are going to clarify the differences between the roles that is played by these different professionals, and help you also to understand which one you really need to hire at what point according to the needs of your business. If this is your first time watching us, welcome to SME Finance Playbook. Here we discuss small business hiring of bookkeepers, accountants, and other finance professionals. We also discuss small business finance management and the future of work. Today we're going to be answering commonly asked questions by SMEs on where and who do I hire at what point in my small business. Do I hire a bookkeeper right now, or do I hire an accountant, or do I need to hire a CPA? So we're going to be clarifying that and giving you like real clear details of the differences between these particular professionals, and when at what stage in your business cycle do you need each and every one of them. To contextualize the differences between these three professionals, there is the person at the bottom and the person at the top. So a pyramid is an appropriate way to illustrate this. So at the very bottom you have the bookkeeper. So the bookkeeper does more work in terms of volume, but less in terms of technical work. And the person at the top, who is the CPA, will do less work in terms of volume, but more work in terms of technical skills. So the bookkeeper, who is a record keeper, his job is mainly just to pick up data from the transactions that are coming in, sales invoices, bank statements, and organize them, usually using an accounting software. Worst cases, he uses a spreadsheet. Then the accountant, who is the person in the middle, you can call him an analyst. And in some companies where you don't have a bookkeeper, you might have a junior accountant and a senior accountant. And the junior accountant will definitely be doing the work of the bookkeeper, and then the senior accountant will be doing the analyst work, where their job will be to analyze the financial data that has been put in the system, and then use them to prepare financial reports and prepare budgets. And at the very top, you now have the CPA. The CPA is somebody who has probably gone through all the knowledge base that you need to be a professional accountant and gotten that certification. And then he actually provides strategic advice to the company. So what he does is that he uses the reports that have been prepared by the bookkeeper and analyzed by the accountant to actually like check for compliance. He does audit, he does tax compliance, he does tax planning, and then he will also be able to do projections for the company. So other elements that we also need to consider here will be in terms of education. So a bookkeeper will be somebody probably who just has a high school degree, or maybe a diploma, and could have done a bookkeeping certification, maybe through QuickBooks or through any bookkeeping platform that gives a certification exam, and that should be enough to be a bookkeeper. An accountant will be somebody who has at least a bachelor's degree in accounting or finance, and a CPA will be somebody who is licensed, and that means that the person must, in most cases, have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and then who also have gone through all the other professional educational requirements that are required by the licensing organization, and must also have undergone professional experience requirements, which are practical requirements that are required after you must have completed the academic studies to be able to become a CPA. Then in terms of the typical reports that are required for each of these professionals, for a bookkeeper, it's just expected that they should keep clean day-to-day report of transactions. Then for an accountant, it's expected that the accountant should be able to give us financial reports and budget. And for CPA, it's expected that the CPA should be able to do tax returns, to do tax planning, and to do strategic reports, other strategic reports for the company. In terms of who needs these particular bookkeepers, this is a very important one. So for every small business, we need a bookkeeper. You need somebody to be able to pick up the daily transactions that you are doing and put them in a software and organize them somewhere, because that is the basis on which you're going to be doing your taxes. That's the basis on which you're going to be reporting to the CRA or any regulatory organization that needs your report. And it is the basis, it's on the basis of that you can also like go to the bank when you're asking for financing to show proof of the business that you have been doing. For growing businesses will definitely need more of an accountant than a bookkeeper, because growing businesses need more complex services. And then for CPAs is generally needed more by the larger companies, but the smaller companies also need CPAs sometimes for tax compliance and when they need strategic advice. Your main goal when you're hiring a bookkeeper is for the bookkeeper to be able to keep your books clean and ready for tax time, and also maybe when you need it to maybe get some financing from the bank. The main goal when you're hiring an accountant is for the accountant to turn the data that is in the system into meaningful insights that you can use for better decision making. The main goal when you're hiring a CPA is to be able to optimize your taxes, ensure that your books are compliant, and to have some strategic advice and insights. We at Rigzlo think that at a certain point in time, as so many small businesses will just need bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs to come work for a few hours of the week. The coordination of these bookkeepers, accountants, and CPAs in terms of making engagements for them, vetting them to make sure that you're getting the right ones, putting the team together, and making sure that we check the work that the team is doing, just to ensure correctness, consistency, and timeliness of that work. The Rigzlo platform is going to be kind of like the organizing structure, which is going to be stable even when these fractional professionals are going to be in and out, right? So imagine that you were to hire a bookkeeper today to come and do 2 hours, and that bookkeeper start working for you for 6 months, and is getting to the end of the year, and then you cannot find that bookkeeper again. It becomes very difficult for a small business to manage it at that point. But if you are on a platform like this, which manage the coordination of the bookkeeper, the accountant, and the CPA, what happens is that all of the data and whatever they are working on is really organized within the platform, and we can easily get another vetted bookkeeper and insert into the team, and it works correctly as if nobody left, right? The same thing for an accountant, and the same thing for a CPA or fractional CFO who might be within the ecosystem. What small businesses should understand in 2026 and moving forward is that the future of finance work is changing rapidly, really bolstered by the efficiencies that AI is bringing. And there are people who say that in 5-10 years the bookkeeper function is going to be eliminated totally. Personally, I do think that it's not going to be totally eliminated, but what is going to happen is that the systems are going to become so efficient that you need a bookkeeper for half or less than half of the time that they currently need them, but you still need them to go validate what is in there, if not for anything, just for the fact that the small business is responsible for whatever is booked and the tax that are prepared based on those books, meaning that if the AI makes mistakes, right, then you end up paying a lot of fines instead of just paying a bookkeeper for 1 or 2 hours to come and just validate that everything in there is fine. Watching this video, I hope that small and medium-sized businesses understand one thing: who they actually need at a particular stage and at a particular time of their business, and I can easily summarize that. So you need a bookkeeper if you're a very small business and you just need your books to be cleaned up and in order and ready for taxes. You need an accountant if you're a growing business and your transactions are becoming more complex, and you need people with higher technical accounting skills and people who actually not just give you data but also transform the data into meaningful insights. And you need a CPA if you are a larger organization. You need to optimize taxes, you need to ensure that you have compliance, you need to make strategic decisions, and you need somebody with the highest level of the technical skills that are needed in accounting and finance. Then you need a CPA. And sometimes you also, as a small business, need a combination of these people, and usually it will be that for your bookkeeping you need a bookkeeper, and when it comes to tax time you might need a CPA to help you to submit your taxes. So you just have to know that you don't need all of these 3 people at the same time. You don't need to have all of them looking at your books throughout the year. If your transactions are becoming more complex, what you can do is that you can have a bookkeeper who is looking at everything every month, and then you have a fractional CPA who comes at the end of the quarter maybe to just check on the work that the bookkeeper or the accountant is already doing. If you found this information useful or valuable to you, please subscribe and watch out for the next episode. Also share it to somebody that you think might need this information. And don't forget, if you need bookkeeping, accounting, tax, or fractional CFO support, go straight to rigzlo.com, rigzlo.com, and we are there to help you to find a vetted finance professional for your needs.